460 million years ago, the seas of North America were bustling with life. Feathery crinoids danced below the waves as strange stony creatures called stromatoporoids built on top of each other like a game of prehistoric Jenga, while in the shallow some of the world's first fish sift through the sediment. Amidst this menagerie, a coiled shell drifts past, followed by a squishy tentacle-bearing head. Its identity seems obvious. It's one of the early ammonites that would come to categorize the seas until the end of the Cretaceous period. But there's an issue. The first ammonites wouldn't appear until the Jurassic, and the ammonoids as a whole would only appear in the early Devonian, several tens of millions of years later. So, then, what is this strange, coiled creature? Hello and welcome to the Good Richthies channel. I'm Good Richthies, and today we're going to discuss the Tarphycerids, an often forgotten clade of Paleozoic cephalopods. The Tarphycerids are a group of shelled cephalopods from the Paleozoic that first appeared during the Ordovician and survived until the late Silurian. They were most populous during the Ordovician, with their numbers decreasing until their extinction. Most lived in the tropics and subtropics, but they have been found at various paleolatitudes. Hatchling Tarphycerids probably possessed curved, uncoiled shells upon hatching and were likely planktonic, while juveniles possessed coiled ones, suggesting a free-moving, open-water, or nectonic lifestyle. Many Tarphycerids become uncoiled later in life, a trait interpreted as an adaptation for a demersal lifestyle, which, if you didn't know, like I did before researching this video, means that the creature in question lives just above the seafloor, a lifestyle also shared by the modern Nautilus. The paper, Early Cephalopod Evolution Clarified through Bayesian Phylogenetic Inference, found the Tarphycerids to be part of the clade Multiceratoidea, as a sister clade to the Ophioceras and their kin, some of which also possess curved shells, although I have yet to see any curved to the extent of the Tarphycerids. Though commonly cited as Tarphycerids, the Nautiloids are not part of the clade, but instead an independently coiled group of cephalopods, more closely related to the famous Ophioceras. Tarphycerida has traditionally included several smaller groups, notably the Paleoceratida, which was occasionally thought to be a different group entirely. However, this group was found by Flower in 1984 to be polyphyletic, with the different members of the group springing up at different points in the Tarphycerid family tree, a claim also supported by the previously mentioned paper. While all Tarphycerids possessed coiled shells, to the extent of my knowledge, there was still a great amount of diversity in shell form within the clade. The basal Cephalopod, for example, possessed a shell that didn't touch itself as it coiled, similar to some early ammonites and their relatives the Bactritids, which would rise in the early Devonian, while Discoceras and the closely related Trocholites had tighter coils, where the shell actually made contact with itself. One of the most unique shells of this group belonged to Discoceras lenstromi, known from the Silurian of what is now the island of Gotland in Sweden. Its shell is decorated with numerous frills, which I'm guessing are probably either derived from the ribs or ridges found in other species, although the paper I'm reading doesn't specify if they are, and is heteromorphic in form. If you're familiar with ammonites, then there's a decent chance you know what that means, but for everyone who doesn't know, it essentially means that their shells are not closely coiled planispiral ones, planispiral meaning that a shell stays in one specific plane as it coils, although sources I've found defining the term are specifically about ammonites, so the definition may be different for Tarphycerids. In D. lenstromi, this is expressed through a sort of gap in the coiling of the shell, caused by the shell uncoiling before returning to a coiled form. This is also seen in certain other Tarphycerids, such as certain species of Ophioceras, as well as in some Onchocerids and Nautiloids. The reason for this decoiling isn't exactly known, and the shape would likely increase drag. D. lenstromi, along with related D. stridsbergi, also from Gotland, and D. emissus from Bohemia, may have represented one of the last diversifications of the Tarphycerids before their extinction around the Silurian-Devonian boundary, the end of a roughly 66 million year reign. Well, that concludes this video on the Tarphycerids. If you want to go even further into this subject, or if you just want to verify my credibility, there's a list of sources in the description. Goodbye!